Yes. So you look at these pictures, and when there is an isotropy in the field, you have the CFT basically in the field, means in the crystal field, a single G value in the spectrum, because Gx is equal to Gy is equal to Gz. Examples are octahedral and tetrahedral symmetries. And now look at a case in which Gz parallel is higher. Gz parallel has an higher G value. Therefore, Gz is greater than Gx and Gy. Or it can be Gz is lesser than Gx and Gy. In both the cases, you are going to have two G values. That is very important. You are going to have two G values. Examples of such complexes are with the symmetries D4H, C4V, D3H, and so on. You can have three G values also sometimes. And when is that case? Gx, Gy, Gz, all three have to be unequal. An example of such shape is this rhombic one. Is the rhombic symmetry. The rhombic symmetry where Gz, Gx, and Gy are unequal. All three are unequal. And you have some point groups also corresponding to these symmetries, C2V, D2H, and C2H. Okay. Anyways, so I hope that I have at least conveyed something regarding multiple G values because of anisotropy. Fine. In our first part of the discussion, we discussed why the G value becomes different. What are the factors which gives difference to the G value? Now we are discussing multiple G's in the same compound. Fine. Anyways, now we will move on to one phenomena which is found in complexes, which can be characterized through ESR, and that phenomena is JT distortions, Jahn-Tiller distortions. So, you know, the Jahn-Tiller distortions happen, okay, at least in octahedral systems we are familiar with, right? Jahn-Tiller distortion or Jahn-Tiller distortions, JT distortion. Now, when JT distortions happen, okay, question to you, yeah? When JT distortions happen, is the symmetry reduced or maintained? Example, in an octahedral symmetry, JT distortion is happening. Is the symmetry reduced or retained? Question.
Reduced.
Good, yeah, reduced. JT is reduced. So now, if you have understood my previous discussion, if the symmetry is reduced, number of G's increase. I mean, okay, simple question. If the symmetry is reduced, G becomes anisotropic or not?
Anisotropic.
Yes, good. G becomes anisotropic. So when there is anisotropy, you have multiple G values in the spectra, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the previous examples we discussed, the octahedral symmetry, the tetrahedral, square planar, all those symmetries, rhombic, the anisotropy was due to the bonding only. The bonding was like that. So that was permanent. But now we are moving on to one more aspect of anisotropy, which is not due to bonding, rather than due to vibrations in the complexes, is it not? So what is the basis of Jahn-Teller distortions? Yeah, can anybody explain Jahn-Teller distortion in brief? Can anybody explain Jahn-Teller distortion in brief? Have you covered inorganic chemistry in your theory?
Yes, sir.
The coordination complexes, have you covered already?
Yes, sir.
Where, when? In your first semester or second semester now?
Sir, in this semester only.
In this semester. Okay, okay, fine. Have you been taught this Jahn-Teller distortion yet or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, fine. So my job becomes a bit easier because you already know Jahn-Teller distortion. Anyways, so what in due to Jahn-Teller distortions, now in when there is no crystal field, all 5 d orbitals are degenerate, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. When there is no crystal field, all 5 are degenerate. Very good. When you apply octahedral crystal field, how is the splitting pattern? Octahedral crystal field you are applying. That's what I have depicted in the center, right? You have T2G and EG2 sets. Now, within the same octahedral field, can these degeneracy be removed one more time? Yes, due to Jahn-Teller distortions. Fine. So there are 2 types of Jahn-Teller distortions called Z in and Z out. Z in is also called compression. Z out is called expansion. So what happens when Z out happens? Due to Z out is the case in which your axial ligands move a bit far away than your equatorial ligands. So when this happens, your octahedral symmetry is of course distorted. Is it not? For octahedral symmetry, all ligands have to be placed equidistant from the central metal ion. Now the Z ligands have moved further away. So when the Z ligands have moved further away, what has happened? The orbitals which are degenerate, T2G and EG, they further become non-degenerate, split. So in Z out, this is the splitting pattern. XZ, YZ to ground state, and then XY, Z square, X square minus Y square. In Z in distortion, what happens? 2 axial ligands move closer. Therefore, there is more repulsion. Therefore, you see in the Z out, all those orbitals which are involving Z orbitals in both these sets have reduced energy, because that's why I showed you the orbital picture in as my second slide. Dz square is an orbital which is directly pointing along the Z axis, dz square. So naturally, those ligands which are moving out on the Z axis will have lesser repulsions on the orbitals which contain Z components. Therefore, XY and YZ becomes lowered in energy in the T2G set. In the EG set, Z square becomes lowered in energy, of course, in the EG set. This is for Z out. For the Z in, that's a compression. Reverse happens. In the EG set, Z square is raised in energy. In the T2G set, all those with Z component are raised in energy. So both these types of distortions constitute Jahn-Teller distortions. Fine. Now, what is the effect of Jahn-Teller distortion on your ESR spectrum? That is what we are going to look at. We are interested now. Now, anyways, this is one more slide giving you some common examples which display Jahn-Teller distortions. Usually, D4 high spins, D7 low spins, and all D9 complexes display JT distortion. And D9 are very common examples for JT distortions. Okay, so these are the complexes. Now, if you record a spectrum of a D9 complex in ESR, you should see some change in it. It should not be giving you single G value in isotropy because of isotropy like octahedral fields. You should get some changes observed in the spectrum. What are those changes? That is what we are looking at. So because of, anyways, this I have explained. Yes, this also Zn and Z out distortions I have explained. Okay, the last example we are going to see Cu2 plus D9 system. I told you a very common example for JT distortions in octahedral field. Please remember the field is still octahedral. If there was no Yonteller JT distortion, it should have given you a single G value isotropic. But because of JT distortions, dz square orbital experience higher interaction with the electric field of the ligands. Therefore, G parallel becomes greater than G perpendicular when the electrons are in dz square. And when the electrons are in dx square minus y square, G perpendicular becomes greater than G parallel. Now, where are the electrons? This is important. Dz square or dx square minus y square depends on Z in or Z out. Is it not? If it is Z out in the EG set, anyways, let us look at the electronic configuration of Cu2 plus. Cu2 plus, the electronic configuration is like this. Your EG set is both orbitals are filled. One x square minus y square with two orbitals, two electrons, and Z square with one electron. So if the complex undergoes Z out distortion, Z square become occupied first. Is it not? And if the complex undergoes Z in distortion, x square minus y square becomes occupied with the electrons. Now, if electrons are present in Z square, dz square, what is the case? Z out. So in case of Z out distortion, G parallel is greater than G perpendicular. In case of Z in distortion, G perpendicular is greater than G parallel. So how is your spectrum looking like? For example, okay, now let us simply assume this. G parallel is greater than G perpendicular. So look at this and tell whether this is a spectra corresponding to which type of JT distortion. Z out or Z in. Okay, let me show you the hint again. When electrons in dz square, G parallel is more. Dz square, D parallel is more. So Z parallel is higher, right? Here, GZ is higher. So this spectra should correspond to
Z out.
dz square.
the electrons are in dz square, GZ square. Yeah, sorry, dz square. See, dz square. So GZ has become more. So when the electrons are in dz square, which type of distortion? Yonteller distortion.
Z out.
Z
Z
out.
out, sir.
Let us check. Yes, because in Z out, Z square is the lower energy orbital. Therefore, dz square has an electrons, two electrons. GZ has become more. So this spectra should be corresponding to Z out distortion. Of course, this is only a representational spectrum. It can also correspond to axially different fields like your square planar, trigonal, bipyramidal, all those things. But it can also correspond to this. So that is what happens. And almost the reverse thing happens in Z in distortions. Now, usually, the distortions of the EG set or the disturbance in the EG set. Okay, simple. Anyways, you will learn this more in your inorganic chemistry. Yonteller distortion is more observed in EG set than in T2G set. Okay, anyways, so don't mind. So these are all the factors which influence the G values as well as the number of Gs you get in a spectrum. So to quickly summarize, which are those factors? So the first one was the oxidation spin state, oxidation state, extent of contribution from the orbital angular momentum, that depends on your spectroscopic term symbols, and then anisotropy in the G values. And what are the factors which contribute to anisotropy? One is the distortion in the symmetry. from octahedral and tetrahedral, you change the symmetry to some other point group like or to some other geometry like square pyramidal, square planar, and or trigonal bipyramidal, you will get multiple G values, as well as even within the octahedral complexes, because of Jahn-Teller distortions, the G values change. Okay, fine. So at least if you can remember these many factors, well and good for your understanding purpose. Fine. So I'll just stop.